None of this is for your movie, and it is not in collaboration with you. That was never my intent. And stop harassing me with that disinformation. More on this in later documents.
Interrupt your regularly habitual and negligent
Ritual?
accountability to not obstruct justice. With this report of a weighty matter, imperative with overriding law of actually biblical proportions. Please be responsible to observe all the full context of this Splitcom special report and address correspondence. Jacob is essentially targeted figure here to keep you abreast of all the information about this matter with cosmic justice concerning this occultic conspiracy and war of sedition known as the Bluetank Insurrection. You can download and rehash all records up to present at my website
www.eboip.wordpress.com all over www.eboip.wordpress.com all over 06/18/2022 at 3:27 p.m. This is Jacob James E. Horton, sole practicing executive officer of the Boip Institute by divine calling in the Lord Jesus Christ. In brief, as much as possible, from this direction over here in the stratosphere to the southeast from my location, another incident of loop tanking escalating scatological as a joined act incident of loop tank harassment and conspiracy by the loop tank manifest phenomena and its public demonstration of the treaties declare state action with nefarious agency, harassing with clear and present danger, unprotected speech, constituting war acts on subject of. At this juncture, production recording was interfered with by remote activation of pause record function, ultimately to frustrate my in-camera editing as recurring pattern by illegal electronic surveillance of my Lifeline program Android phone, which Obama's personality identity repeatedly claims a sociopathic entitlement to on illegal despotic terms against our form of government, since Lifeline program was a government program initiated by his administration with a connection by mobile network. Therefore, I must re-record my intended communication for voiceover narration. Yeah, that's right, I started talking, right. Harassment has caused even more time waste and delayed damages by causing me to repeat production process when I'm being surrounded by gang members that work at proprietorships, that when I start working, they start harassing, talking loud to interrupt my, and it happens everywhere I go. This is a pernicious recurring pattern. Now to repeat my intended communication, as before I was so rudely interrupted again, causing more time wasted and delayed damages and malice intent to my multiple accumulating case matters. The corroborated parallel evidence incident was the kingpin by this commercial disclaimer. The team of attempted parties than malicious motives. Communicating even more redundantly recurring threats of frivolous, retaliatory, malicious, and extremely differential prejudicial legal harassments. Hostily prejudicial to my American citizen persons' fundamental rights of free speech, free press, and life, limb, and liberty. With adversarial actions to procure copyright dispute-related takedown orders of Boip Institute web publishings, including and via my website of the Boip Institute, as sole practicing executive, pro se, and informa papyrus, without the collaboration of its construction and production with any other, completely independently, and third-party site remote storage accessible by it. Significantly, these loop tank insurrection and invasion joined acts are a current perpetuation of the obsessively constant acts of satanic ritual abuse, which were the subject of recent publishings by AV record documents disseminated that these acts are hyper-reactionary and retaliatory against, maliciously and against the law, treasonously including alliance with the intents of the dictator of the Republic of China, who perpetually threatens with overthrow of the United States of America and an overturn of all of its law, which was formerly a British colony until the 20th century. This is relevant in union with the hostile intents of British petroleum oil inclusion amongst entities of the loop tank insurrection on the earth, invasion of my country, and insurrection within it of the whole occult network, satanic worldwide, which has its seat in Rome at the Vatican. And together with the Queen and the royal family, relatives of my own, I non-condone and oppose on these grounds, which is prima facie, according to a fundamental primary doctrinal principle of my nation and its founding, which any disagreement against is ipso facto treasonous, historically and fundamentally. As I was saying, the royal family of Great Britain, with other uniting Satanist globalists, foreign and domestic both, such as Putin pants threatening overthrow of my nation within its borders, who Trump was in very extreme collusion with, and with a wholesale of our whole market, corrupting in collusion with him our whole economy, destroying it. And these are facts beyond practical scope purpose for this document herein. However, to continue, these loop tank insurrection and invasion joined acts are in malice intent to disrupt all previously accumulated and imperative legal matters of myself, and therefore my institute for the purpose of handling these matters, in part, as what can only be handled now at this current time, overburdened with them. You can see the About page and profile page on my website, www.dboip.wordpress.com, for its stated purposes, in defense of the Constitution of the United States of America in this very idiosyncratic time of disorder. Actually, as much as by mind control programs imposed upon the populace, this is repressed and escapably denied. It must be addressed and acknowledged. These acts are demonstrative of that. Actually, the subject of this report, by purposely and intentionally overburdening with these multiple abuses of the justice system and abuse process in the same conspiracy aforementioned per past assertions multitudinously, and practically all other previous record documents which communications have been prejudiced by extreme severe ignorance with respect to acknowledging to my person, while at the same time being spread amongst the whole population of the world, while this is being denied to me, and that which is hyenaously unconscionable. Also throughout, they also, as they constantly have since the beginning of the manifest phenomena of the loot tank, for 8 years and approximately 3 months, communicated threats not only of these legal harassments, but of most sadistic and aggregated forms of massacre upon my person. That has been daily for 8 years and 3 months, approximately. I've been hearing and witnessing this in their perpetrated aggressions. Right now, at this moment, I communicate as intended that more facts, information, and analysis with legal statements and assertions are to come later, and here's to demonstrate another element of loot tank construction analysis. Dan Cortez, Quitty, and Mark Velocic! I am being harassed with what, according to the loot tank construction analysis, as is known widely, to be fabricated schemes set deployed by mind tapping, telepathy, occult, and clairvoyance, with intent to steal my intellectual property and my identity, are falsely claimed by these occultic means to be the origins of these planned communications, but I had planned them and am now recording them in my production. And they steal my plans and steal my intellectual property with the false claims of falsely attributing to themselves, like Dan Cortez is obsessed with doing, and that is freaking core to loot tank insurrection activity, loot tanking. Enrico conspiracy racketeering. Now stop it! And by these occultic means, I intended to say this is my words, you had nothing to do with it, now stop! So as I was saying, there will be more information of facts, analysis, and I'm doing this, Mark, stop it! Quit arguing with my head and trying to interrupt and trying to reclaim my clothing over my mind when you do that freaking for being what my thoughts are, and then you are always freaking distorting and misinterpreting something else tangential and trying to attribute it to yourself and claiming distortions are attributed to me when you want to redefine everything and you are all confused up and disoriented with all of this with what your intents are, and it will never work! This is what parallel evidence at this particular moment right now is harassing me with! Dan Cortez, Mark Velocic, and others. These 3 men named from Spclr, Pennsylvania, core to the loot tank insurrection group. High level, command level responsibility in this occult conspiracy. Now I am thinking, and they are not your thoughts. You're incompetent, and I am not. We'll come later, after now. No! Guy pretending to be freaking some news anchor freaking on NBC. You are wrong. Quit stealing from my intellectual property for your misuse. Racketeering and Rico conspiracy. Stop it. This is not your work. It is originating from me, not you. They always distort what any freaking product from them is, and then they want to claim a bunch of criminal things that they do to me, and a bunch of criminal things they want to freaking be redefinitions of anything I do, and they are all confused up, and you are too confused, and you are a mess! This is cruel and unusual punishment. These interferences with my mind and concentration while I am working ever! And this is not your work, stop loot taking! As I was saying, now for some history background that is relevant. Some background history about this operandi recurring pattern of the prolonged loot tank conspiracy, Perboda's intents of the loot tank. Current joined acts of incident are a continuation of recurring pattern Perboda's intents of the loot tank of employment and academic sabotage efforts causing damages, consistent with the militant special self-serving interests of such as Caddy Witch, and such as one Mr. Alloy, recently communicated about in my testimony in a short title, Nice Guy in a Tough Business, appendix to Resident Courier's short title. This incident is partly hyper-reactionary, retaliatory to it, with such as he is a party inclusion with loot tanking with their obsessive insecurity issues per their profiles. This one Mr. Alloy, teacher at Avon Lake High School who was of Cleveland gang affiliation with Arsenio Hall, and a manager at a place of employment, Bob and Farms Restaurant, decades ago, during my life of 52 years thus far, for insight concerning their acts, joined in conspiracy in this incident a couple of decades ago. Facts. In collusion with my biological father and so-called sister of the entity, Kathy, K-A-T-H-Y, who at this previous period of time were living in Lyle, Illinois, and members of Obama's gang, meth dealing, in Chicago. Al Sharpton's brother, one pissant gang member, Christopher Allen, and one Milk Dud of Chicago, for lack of his real actual name, but this was his nickname, were planted to infiltrate my college law classes. These plotted by gang-imposing group assignments from professors with collective group grades. This was a plot to sabotage my academics in law courses. I objected to their inadequacy. I insisted upon proper citation in college assignments. They wanted to be incompetent, and we would all receive the same grade. I also insisted upon my independence from them, from the group, and complete my assignments independently, and received A's and they received D's. They've been extremely vindictive and obsessive to harass about citation. This was on the issue of citing in college assignments. They constantly harass on the topic of citations incessantly as an obsession, as a recurring pattern in malice intent to cause damages to all of my matters, imposing arbitrary policies in total ignorance and incompetence, procedurally harass all my matters, in conspiracy with polluters. This is while loop-taking by mind-tapping, telepathy, the occult, and clairvoyance. Obama is heavily involved with them, and it's been central to all of his acts as president, de facto really as an interloper. Acts of this incident are retaliatory and malicious, with these motives and intents of the Lieutenant Purdy's militant special self-serving interests of these and other colluding parties. Currently, Daniel Hahn, Chief de facto of the Sacramento Police Department in treason, is heard in the public demonstration of the Treason State Action Affairs Agency, and is in collusion with the same parties of Chicago gang of Obama's. Oh, additionally, this was also while Sir Robert Horton from Cleveland, BP Tower, was in conspiracy, acquiring the college as an asset and implanting conspirators amongst its staff during the time after I had enrolled. During the 70s, there has been NAACP and Horton family of oil business, etc. alliance that is extremely corrupt and in collusion with globalist conspirators, satanic, such as China and Russia, etc. It's 6/20/2022. More developments recently occurred in this matter. This incident of Lieutenant King escalating scatological by the manifest phenomenon. There have been additional acts of guerrilla warfare. Right here at this location of Starbucks. Just recently, my power pack for power supply, while it was charging, was stolen by a Mexican gang member in a recurring pattern of property thefts, petty. As dynamics continue to escalate of Lieutenant constructionist activity, Lieutenant escalating scatological, as I am in production with this special report, I had a revenue raise by means recently communicated about with my list requesting financial support that I am blacklisted unjustly. I'm being harassed with interrogation with dynamic fluctuation escalating when I originally began this activity. That did not happen. It's demonstrating and betraying to be of Lieutenant insurrectionist harassment. It is mostly by Mexican gang members that look like Scott Perks, his doppelganger agents, keep on wanting to interrogate me, to harass my time, and try to instigate fights. One drove by and was staring at me maliciously. I really did return it, non-verbally communicating. There was, in the conflict he perpetrated, there's been parallel evidence profusing parallel that he had gone to the local Punjabi Sikh gas stations that sell plugs, and per this testimony and confession that was coming from personality identity of Scott Perks, this or another doppelganger agent of his went to these stores and told them to sell me a plug that was shorted out by sabotage malfunctioning. This has caused time waste and delay in the production of this document. When this document is necessitated in time waste and delay with immediate matters, harassing previous productions that are also in process, overburdened. You're doing this to disrupt my cases. They constitute war acts.
Mel Gibson, none of this is for your movie, and it is not in collaboration with you. That was never my intent. And stop harassing me with that disinformation. More on this in later documents. Warning!